Now let's talk about step number 6, which is about testing your plan. Okay. So when it comes to testing the plan, what are the different options that we have? These are the different options of testing that we have. First one is read through test. Then we have structured walkthrough test, then simulation test, parallel test, and full interruption test. So let's go through these tests one by one. First one, read through test. It is also known as checklist test or desk check test. So don't get confused in the exam if you see these terms. Read through, checklist, or desk check, it is one and the same thing. So basically what happens in this test is that the copies of the BCPDR plan that you have created, you send them to different departments and the team members who you think are critical to the functioning or to the success of the BCPDR plan. So you once you have created that plan, you distribute the copies of that plan to different departments or to the different team members for review. And then what you want is you want every one of those team members or those people to review the plan and then make sure that nothing has been left out, that nothing important has been left out. You want to get their feedback to see whether everything in the plan looks correct or not. Okay. So feedback and suggestions from different members is integrated into the plan. So you develop the plan, you distribute them to different teams and their members, and then you seek their feedback. Once they provide their feedback or suggestion, then you incorporate that into the plan. All right. So as it says, it's a read through test. Everybody is supposed to read it and then provide their feedback. So that's the first one. Next one is structured walkthrough test. So what is a structured walkthrough test? It is the next level after read through test, and it is also known as a tabletop exercise. So what happens in a tabletop exercise is you don't just distribute the plan to the team members and then have them read it at their own convenience. Rather, you bring the relevant people together in a room or maybe around a table. That is why it is called a tabletop exercise. And then you walk them through different scenarios. So you say that, all right, we have created this plan and now we have all gathered together in this room. Now let's say a disaster were to happen. As per this plan, what is it that we are supposed to do? We are supposed to call this person first, and maybe we are then supposed to go to this facility, or maybe we are supposed to take this action. So, and then you may ask some questions as well to the relevant team members or to the relevant personnel. For example, you may ask one person, hey, do you know that you are supposed to call so and so person after a disaster strikes? Do you know where the phone numbers of those people are stored? Those kind of things happen around a tabletop exercise. So the goal of this exercise is to help team members understand their responsibilities better, because now they are not just reading a plan, they are actually walking through it. Okay. And it raises awareness of team members about the various recovery procedures. So that's structured walkthrough test. Okay. Then the next one is simulation test. So in this case, members of different departments come together and they actually practice executing disaster recovery plan based on a specific scenario. And so in this case, you are not just discussing. In the structured walkthrough test, you were just discussing what needs to be done. But in this case, you actually try to implement what needs to be done. So you play out a specific scenario. For example, you could say that, all right, let's say if we were to lose power in our building, in our office, then how are we supposed to walk the people out of the building to safety? So how will we do that? Let's practice that scenario. And this drill only includes material that would be available during an actual disaster, right? Because during an actual disaster, if there is no electricity, if there is no power, then it will be all dark, right? So while performing this drill as well, you will make sure that all of the lights have been switched off, and only that material is available that would actually be available during a disaster. So that is what the purpose of a simulation test is done. It's a simulation. Okay. As you can see here, the intensity of the test is increasing with every category. The next category of the next type of test is parallel test. It involves relocating personnel to the alternate recovery site. So now you have a primary site, you have built an alternate recovery site as well. So what you do here is you actually tell some people, or not tell, but actually you take some people to that alternate recovery site and you make them work from that site. You take some systems to that recovery site and you perform your day-to-day functions from that site, so that you can then compare the functions of that site to the results of the functions that are actually performed from the original production site. And then you can see what are the gaps, or what if there are any things that have been missed, or if any improvements need to be made to the alternate site to make sure that it performs at par with the primary production site. Okay, so that is parallel test. Now, the key thing to remember about this test here is that operations at the main facility are not disrupted. Okay, so we are not saying that we are taking everyone out from the main facility and having them work at the alternate site. No, that is not the goal here. The goal is just to run a small test at the parallel site, at the alternate site, to see how it functions as compared to the primary site. So operations at the main facility are not disrupted. Keep that in mind. Parallel test, operations at the main facility are not disrupted. Okay, the last test is the full interruption test, which is the most intrusive test, which is similar to parallel test. However, the systems at the primary site are shut down as well. So you don't just send some people to the alternate site and compare the performance. Rather, you actually shut down your primary site and then you move everyone to the alternate site to see how it works. All right, and it's, as it says here, all processing happens at the recovery site. That is the reason it is called a full interruption test. Okay, so those are all of the type of tests that need to be performed.